Hello, everybody. Welcome once more to my new skit on my YouTube video channel. This time, I would like to give a narrative on the trail of my book ever since the inception of that idea of writing a book on the Brahmins of Kerala. Well, to begin with, it is during a Mandala Vilakku festival at the Tiruvani Devi Palliyara temple at Chalil territory in December 1966, when Temple Shanti Valiyagat Gobi infused in me, in the course of a discussion, a strange phenomenon, a strange theory that Nalillakaran fishermen of Kerala may legitimately claim proud status as the progeny of Rani Satyavati of the Mahabharata fame. It was through her unison with sage Parashara of the epic. In local parlance or lingua franca, they say Nalillakaran are the children of Icharacharandeyum Paracharandeyum Makkal. Parashara Gotram, no doubt. Icharacharan or Icharachan refers to sage Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, the compiler of the four Vedas. Now, in evidence thereof, Nambudiri Brahmins, as he says, catch fish during wedding nuptials. Later, I came to know that it is called Panchameni or Manattakanni. But at the time when he narrated to me this incident, neither he nor I know its technical term, Panchamehini. Moreover, Nambudiri ancestral homesteads, almost every one of them, is named after a species of fish or its variants thereof. Well, I felt astounded, or rather more than confused, at his narrative or at his suggestion. I am introduced to him, Valiyagat Gobi, the Shanti, by my friend Valiyavirtil Mohandas, whose father is no doubt a Nalillakaran and his mother a Shivali Brahmin from Mangalore. And they all live at Chalil in territory. Well, that apart. Sooner or later, I cross-checked his matter of opinion, suggestion with my sister-in-law, whose uncle, Bandarkar, is a Gauda Saraswata Brahmin, a Konkani, and she confirmed of having seen fish-catching nuptials performed by her uncle's relatives, the Konkanis, somewhere around Mangalore side. Well, that apart. But that is with regard to Gauda Saraswata Brahmins and not Nambudiri Brahmins per se. So, in order to make myself double sure, I contacted my classmate at St. Joseph's College, Davagere, Calicut, where I am doing undergraduation in history. Namely, my classmate P.K. Devan, later known as Pullur Devan Nambudiri. And he told me to wait for a week or two. By the time he would go to his home at Karikad in Manjeri and then gave me a result. Obviously, but surprisingly, he answered me. His reply was in the positive. He confirmed, yes, among Nambudiris, especially Yajurvedic Nambudiris, catch fish Panchamani at the time of their wedding, on the 5th day to be precise. So, in furtherance thereof, and for a second opinion, I contacted Malayalam professor V.A. Keshavan Nambudiri at the college, St. Joseph's College, and he too gave me a rather reluctant positive reply. So far, so good. After graduation from St. Joseph's College, I joined Udupi Law College in 1970 for pursuing higher studies or higher education, specializing in law. There again, my classmate Bailur Krishna Rao, when I contacted him as to the veracity of such a custom, he said, better we contact his professor at college, namely Dr. P. Guru Raja Bhatt. Guru Raja Bhatt, who was then principal of St. Milagros College at Kalyanpur. And when we contacted him, he proffered me the only book then available in the district, namely John Sturrock's Manual of South Canara, and in which we find printed in crystal clear letters or crystal clear words that Parashurama took the braids from fishing net and turned it into strands and laid it on the shoulders of Nambudiri Brahmins, inter alia Shivali Brahmins, falling down below the waist in the place of the present Yajnopavidam, the holy Brahmanical thread. Later, an article which I read from Pudiyappa Sri Kurumba Temple magazine in 1985 prompted me to contact its author. That was later days, but still, however, the author of that article, Mukkuvarum Nambudirigalum, that appeared in Sri Kurumba Bhagavati Temple at Pudiyappa, the author, Chalanad Padmanabha Menon, who was then staying at Chalapuram. Now he is the nephew of reputed scholar Malayalam scholar Dr. Chalanad Achutamanan of Madras University fame. Padmanabha Menon not only confirmed the averments in his written article, but also added that this aspect is not only confined to theoretical output in the writings of early Indologists, but may check with Chakyar's Narmam Parayal at Prabandham Kooth and also Shaktibhadran's Sanskrit play eulogizing on fish and several sea creatures. Chakyas take delight in this narrative or narrating varieties of fish, its varied uses, and also to an exclusive audience of Nambudiri Brahmins. Inter alia, I may add, he told me to give a copy of my book to retired Justice Balakrishnan Eradi, who was also his neighbor staying at Chalapuram, Calicut. That was in the year 1996. Now, it must be remembered that it was before Justice Eradi that I took my oath as an advocate from the Senate Hall of the Kerala High Court in the year 1974. When later, next year perhaps, when I met Advocate V.V. Nagendran from Karunagapalli. Nagendran was then later he became editor of Bhasha Poshini. But that apart, when I met him from Karunagapalli in 1975 or so, he told me of Sangakali, told me to peruse and read Appan Tamburan's book Sangakali. Appan Tamburan, Ramavarma Appan Tamburan, the Maharaja of Cochin, wrote a book, the Sangakali, full of fish and fishy tales. Now, it may be said in parentheses that my book Malayala Brahmin Autochthon Theory, published in the year 1995, was given a letter of appreciation by Justice P.V. Narayanan Nambiar of the Kerala High Court in 1996, even as my Malayalam version of the book, Malayalam version translated by Pulikkothodi Vijayan Nambudiri of Karikad near Majjeri, captioned Kerala Brahmanarum Purvanivasi Siddhantavum, received a book notice by reputed Tantri who was patron of Kerala Akila Kerala Akshara Parishad, that was then functioning near Vadakechara in Trichur. He gave a book notice and made publish in Brahmanyam an exclusive newsletter meant for Nambudiri Brahmins of Trichur district. That was in the year, in the month of June or July in the year 2000. Soon after publication of my Malayalam book, Malayalam book that was edited by Guruvayur Sri Krishna College Malayalam professor K.V. Ramakrishna Warrior. Well then, an article or other, let me see. Incidentally, in 1985, when I took up residence for more than a couple of years at Karikad in the home of Kerala Kalamandalam Principal M.P.S. Nambudiri, namely Mutayartha Palasheri Mana. I became a frequent visitor at Nambudiri Nambudiri, also called Shastra Sharman Nambudiri Pod, who introduced me to Dr. M.S. Gopalakrishna Iyer, who retired as Director of Anthropology at the Madras Universities, and who took his doctorate on Nambudiri Brahmins. His thesis was captioned "A Socio-Political Aristocracy on the Malabar Coast," somewhere in the 70s. Now, and also at the instance of Mamutri Shastra Sharman, I scooted off to meet Dr. Veluthat Keshavan at BP Angadi, Vettathu Pudiyangadi near Tirur, who is acknowledged as having brought out a book on Arya Brahmin settlements in Kerala. I had a talk with him over a cup of coffee from his illam in the year 1986. In fact, he gave me his book for a review, but that is not concerned with my present topic here. Now later, I frequented a frequent discussion with Dr. Puliyur Neelamana Madhavan Nambudiri, head of the Department of Malayalam at Government College, Government Arts and Science College, Meenchanda, Calicut, and also with Dr. Pirinjiri Narayanan Nambudiri, head of the Department of Sanskrit at the University of Calicut, worked in me wonders insofar as my research thesis is concerned. I am proud to say this. Dr. Pirinjiri Narayanan helped me in great measure briefing me up on Paninian methodology of Bahuburi Samasam and Ega Seshavritti. Well, that is all scholarly input. Very much helpful to me in the pursuit of my thesis, research. So, later, I came into touch with Yogatshema Sabha, Malappuram District Yogatshema Sabha President, AMC Narayanan Bhattaripad, Melepad Narayanan Bhattaripad, Amayor Melepad Cheriya Narayanan Bhattaripad from Ramapuram, who was Sant Nazar at District Road, Manjeri. Simultaneously, or some years later, that was, I think, if I am not mistaken, during 1989-1992. Now later, few years later, I came into contact with Yogatshema Sabha State Committee General Secretary Kakkat Manakkal Parameshwaran Nambudiri. He helped me in several ways to enrich my knowledge on Nambudiri Brahmins. And last but not the least, I must not fail to make mention of my old classmate P.K. Devan, alias Pullur Devan Nambudiri, who is responsible for making all these connections, enhancing all these connections. Well, that apart, my English book, and also before that I would like to add, during 1986, while I was staying in Palasheri Mana, at the instance of Shastra Sharman Nambudiri Pod, I rushed to Guruvayur Sri Krishna College, where I met Dr. P. Shankaranarayanan, who was its principal. Now, he in fact brought out a book, a doctoral thesis on Sangakali. We had a prolonged discussion on several occasions, twice or thrice, and during the last occasion in 1986, he gave me a privilege of having an exclusive chance to view a VCR production, video cassette recording production of Sangakali. That was his personal copy. I enjoyed it to the full. Now, I saw a real Panengali or Sangakali performance during 24th Yogakshema Sabha annual conference held from Manjeri. I relished it very much. Then, my English book, Malayalam Brahmin Autochthon Theory, is published by District Bar Association Manjeri in the year 1995, as mentioned earlier, and is sponsored by my senior advocate, Artipuram Purushothaman Nambudiri, lawyer, Advocate A.P. Nambudiri. And in fact, the book was released by Dr. Timothy Francis, M.A. Ph.D. and the book was received by Karipotilat Narayan Musat from the house of Indo-Canadian scholar Ronald A. Miller. Ronald A. Miller was Professor Emeritus at the University of Pennsylvania in the US. Well then, the Malayalam book, release of the Malayalam book was conducted by, it was edited by Malayalam Professor, Sri Krishna College, Guruvayur Sri Krishna College, Malayalam Professor K.V. Ramakrishna Warrior, who took initiative to bring out this Malayalam edition of my book, Kerala Brahmanarum Purva Nivasi Siddhantavu, and it was released by Yogakshema Sabha Palakkad Upasabha President Olappamannamanakal Subramanian Nambudiri Pod from Palakkad in the year 2000. Well, that's all for now. Please subscribe, like and share my video. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.